Let's journey to Indonesia, to the absolutely breathtaking Prambanan Temple complex. Now, this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but it's also the setting for one of the wildest stories in Javanese folklore. A tale of a prince, a princess, and an impossible task that ends with a truly terrible curse.
Can you even imagine being so angry, so betrayed, that you decide to turn the person you want to marry into solid stone? Well, that's exactly what a furious prince supposedly did, shouting this curse that has echoed through the centuries, creating the legendary origin story for this incredible place.
But here's the big question we're tackling today. Is this epic tale of magic, supernatural armies, and stone curses the real story behind Prambanan? Or does history tell us something completely different and maybe, just maybe, even more fascinating? Let's dig in and separate the myth from the masonry. So, where does this all begin? Well, you might think it's a romance, but it actually kicks off with war and a really brutal conquest. To get the whole story, you first have to meet the two people at the center of it all. First up is Bandung Bondowoso. This guy was a seriously powerful prince who, get this, commanded an entire army of supernatural spirits called jinns. He launches the surprise attack on the peaceful kingdom of Prambanan, and in the chaos, he kills its king, Prabu Baka, and takes over the whole realm. Now, this is where the story takes a truly wild turn. Right after his victory, Bandung Bondowoso sees the grieving princess, Roro Jonggrang, and is just blown away by her beauty. And without skipping a beat, he asks her to marry him. I mean, just think about that for a second. He's proposing to the daughter of the king he just murdered. Talk about audacity. Yeah, as you can probably guess, Roro Jonggrang is horrified. But she's also incredibly smart. She knows she can't just refuse him, so she comes up with this brilliant and, frankly, savage plan. She says, okay, I'll marry you, but only if you can complete two nearly impossible tasks for me. And look, these weren't just difficult tasks. They were designed to be completely impossible. First, he has to dig a gigantic well. Fine. But second, and this is the big one, he has to build 1,000 temples, all in a single night, between sunset and sunrise. Surely, nobody could pull that off. But Bandung Bondowoso wasn't just anybody. Using his supernatural powers, he digs the well in like no time at all. In a last-ditch effort, Roro Jonggrang tricks him into going down into the well and then orders her men to bury him alive. But it doesn't work. He bursts out, furious. But, and this is crazy, he's still so in love with her that he just forgives her. One task down, one to go. As night falls, the prince calls on his army of jinns, and they start building temples at a mind-blowing speed. Roro Jonggrang is watching in horror as temple number 999 is nearly finished. The clock is ticking. She has to do something, and fast. So she wakes up all her maids and gives them a set of very strange orders to create a fake sunrise. And you know what? Her crazy plan actually works. The loud pounding of rice sounds like people starting their morning work. The burning straw makes the eastern sky glow red, and the roosters, totally fooled by the light and noise, start crowing. The jinns, who are terrified of sunlight, think dawn is here, and poof, they vanish, leaving the 1,000th temple just shy of being finished. So, the prince failed, but he wasn't a fool. He knew almost instantly that he'd been tricked, and his reaction? Well, that's the part of the story that gets carved into the very landscape of Java forever. He is absolutely enraged. He turns to Roro Jonggrang and unleashes his final, most terrible power. He shouts this curse at her, and with his magic, he transforms the princess herself into a stone statue, placing her inside that last unfinished temple to finally complete the set of 1,000. And this is where the myth and the real world just beautifully collide. You can visit these places today. The main Prambanan Temple is seen as Roro Jonggrang's palace. The nearby ruins of Ratu Boko are said to be her father's fortress, and another temple complex just down the road is called Candi Sewu, which literally means 1,000 temples.
It's an amazing tale, right? And it totally explains why the main statue inside Prambanan's biggest temple is often called Roro Jonggrang. But, is that really her? Let's peel back the layers of legend and see what history actually has to say.
So once archaeologists and historians got a chance to properly study the site, they found actual written proof that tells a very, very different story. One without any jinns or curses, but one that's full of real kings, powerful dynasties, and deep religious faith.
And it all comes down to this one crucial piece of evidence. A stone slab found nearby, called the Siwagraha inscription, is dated to this year, 856 CE. Think of it like a public announcement from over 1,000 years ago, describing the grand opening of a temple. And it tells us who really built it and why.
The inscription actually gives the temple its original name, Siwagraha, which is Sanskrit for the house of Shiva. And that one name changes everything. It tells us its real purpose wasn't to fulfill a curse, it was a sacred Hindu temple built to honor Lord Shiva. That main statue isn't Princess Roro Jonggrang, it's the powerful goddess Durga.
So let's just put this side by side for a second. The legend says it was built by a mythical prince named Bandung Bondowoso. History shows it was built by a real king, Rakai Pikatan. The legend says it was built in one night. Archaeology shows it was a massive project that took decades. The legend says it's a monument to a curse. History shows it's a monument to faith and royal power.
The real story is that after it was finished, the whole temple complex was tragically abandoned just a few decades later. The kingdom's capital just moved. Why? Nobody knows for sure. But a huge eruption from the nearby Mount Merapi volcano is a leading theory. For centuries, it fell into ruin, which is when the legend of Roro Jonggrang likely grew to explain this mysterious giant place, until restoration finally began in the 20th century.
But wait, the historical truth reveals something even more profound than the legend. It's not just about one temple, it's about the entire religious and cultural world of that time.
Hey, remember Kandi Seu, the 1,000 temples from the legend? It's a real place, less than a kilometer away from Prambanan. But here's the kicker. While Prambanan is a grand Hindu temple, Kandi Seu is a massive Buddhist temple.
And despite its name, Kandi Seu is actually made up of 249 temples. But honestly, the number isn't what matters. The most significant fact is that you have this huge Buddhist sanctuary built right next door to the grand Hindu sanctuary of Prambanan. What does that tell us? It suggests something incredible. That the Hindu Sanjaya dynasty and the Buddhist Sailendra dynasty didn't just fight, they coexisted. They built their monumental places of worship right next to each other. So the legend of conflict and curses actually hides a deeper, truer story of harmony and tolerance. And that leaves us with this final thought. The legend of Roro Jonggrang is an unforgettable story of passion and revenge, for sure. But the true history of Prambanan might be even more powerful. A quiet testament to a time when different faiths could build legacies of incredible beauty side by side. It really makes you wonder, what can that ancient harmony teach us about unity today? Thanks for tuning in.